Majority.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to lay on the table of this House the third and fourth quarter report, financial year 2019-2020, from the Department of Gender, Culture, Social Services and Sports. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next order.
Order number 6, notice of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Chairperson, Culture, Social Services, Honorable Saumu is present.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to read the response for Counter-Assembly Statement on National Policy on Gender and Development 2019. The Department of Gender, Culture, Youth, Sports and Social Services is aware of the National Policy on Gender and Development 2019. The policy is aligned to the Constitution, in particular the Bill of Rights and subsidiary legislation, national and county government system and their respective mandates, Kenya Vision 2030, Medium Term Plan 3 into brackets MTP 3, the government's Big 4 agenda into brackets universal health care, food security, affordable housing and manufacturing, international and regional gender treaties that Kenya has ratified, as well as emerging issues to achieve gender equality and women empowerment in national development so as to enhance participation of women and men, boys and girls, vulnerable and marginalized groups for the direct attainment of Sustainable Development Goal number 5 on gender equality and number 10 on reduced inequality and general impact on all the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. It is the mandate of the State Department of Gender to coordinate, monitor and evaluate the implementation of the policy. This is being a national policy. The creation of the Department of Gender, Culture, Youth, Sports and Social Services in 2018 specifically is the executive's full commitment and mandate by the county government to implement the policy. The following activities have been implemented in keeping with national gender policy. 1. The department conducted intersectoral collaboration with other county departments of Kilifi County Government and non-governmental agents to champion and enhance gender equality and women empowerment. 2. The officers in the department analyzed and interpreted the national policy to facilitate its implementation and contextualization. In this regard, the department has undertaken to domesticate the policy to Kilifi situation. The draft gender policy is in the process of being established along with other related policies such as gender-based violence to brackets GBV and gender mainstream policies. 3. The department has since identified and trained gender champions in all the 10 departments of the Executive Office in gender issues, and in particular, gender responsive budgeting. The County Executive Committee members and chief officers were all identified and trained with support from FIDA. The department, in partnership with FIDA, trained all the House Committee members, budget and that of gender, youth, culture and social services, and the women caucus. Number 4, the department has undertaken keen concern and put programs for anti-gender-based violence and awareness creation against teenage pregnancy. In the financial year 2018-2019, the department carried out count-wide campaigns against teenage pregnancy and saw the reduction of teenage pregnancy drop from 17,000 to less than 13,000 the following year. These campaigns have been sustained through social media and other public platforms. Number 5, this year we have been able to set up to all free mobile numbers 0800720 and recruited 2 telecounselors in the month of June 2020, supported by UNDP, which the public can call to seek guidance and reporting gender-based violence incidents from any part of the county and the country. 6. It is the current financial year 2019-2020, the department implemented a program on women economic empowerment known as Village Saving and Loans Association, into brackets VSLAS. That was done on a small scale and hopeful can upscale it in this coming financial year 2020-2021. The department has further, through the Department of Finance, been keen on monitoring and reporting on the presidential decree on 30% AGPO requirement on all procured goods and services. 7. The department is working closely with all the other departments in the county as it is essential, a mainstream sector, especially the Directorate of Gender. The department works very closely with namely Department of Medical Services and Public Health, Departments of Agriculture, Water and Environment, Cooperative and Trade and Tourism, Department of Education and ICT. These departments do not only gender mainstream their activities, but also have joint programs and carry out joint activities with the Directorate of Gender. Number 8, notable is the development of the adolescent and young people sexual health, rights, HIV strategy and programs which aims to give knowledge, sensitize and create awareness and protect young people from all forms of vulnerable, building and strengthening their capacities to achieve overall good health. The 2 departments launched the AYPSRH strategy in April 2019, which currently is being reviewed. This review is being done using multi-sectoral approach involving the Department of Education from national and county governments, Health, Teacher Service Commission, and Young People's Representation. Number 9, the Department of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries has implemented jointly with the Department of Gender to implement an agribusiness project in partnership with Ustadi, an NGO. The project is ongoing and is dubbed as VIGABZ, targeting youth groups. The department is also implementing a project dubbed NAGRIP, which also targets youth groups of farmers. Number 10, the Department of Education and ICT, in partnership with the Department of Gender, have implemented an ICT literacy program that was rolled out in the whole county. Presently, the Department of Education, jointly with the Directorate of Gender and Youth, has renovated and equipped a number of vocational training centers, VTSs, famously known as Youth Polytechnic. The department, in collaboration with the Department of Trade, Cooperative and Tourism, to develop a policy and criteria for Mbegu Fund, which has been successfully implemented. It is our commitment to continue championing the implementation of the National Gender Policy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
City.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to give my sentiments on the statement that I've raised before saying I agree or disagree to the response. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the statement that I raised, first, it's a very unique statement because it was addressed to the County Secretary on regards to a policy that is in line with the Department of Gender. Mr. Speaker, you will recall that in 2019, there was a national policy on matters of gender and development. This national policy was supposed to act as a framework for counties, all 47 counties, to be able to customize and to be able to domesticate and customize policies with regards to the situations that they have at their own county level, Mr. Speaker. But that notwithstanding, the department has answered, but from the answer, it has generally measured on the mandate of the department as expected for it to be done. But Mr. Speaker, the request of the statement was on an issue of a policy that the national had, and that counties were supposed to customize and bring them to the county assemblies in order for the county assemblies to be able to oversight on the activities that have been highlighted, for example, of labor and education, health, but that has not been done, Mr. Speaker. We don't have our own customized policy on gender and development. What we have is a national policy that is supposed to act as a framework for counties to be able to domesticate their own policy. But from the response, Mr. Speaker, if we go to response number 2, they are trying to say that the draft gender policy is in the process. Mr. Speaker, this now was supposed to be the actual answer, that we are in the process of doing a draft of a policy to domesticate according to the situation that we have at Kilifi County. So, Mr. Speaker, this answer is not satisfactory, because what I was expecting as the prayer of the statement is that, yes, we understand that there's a national policy, and at a county level, this is what we've been able to do towards customizing our policy. But the answer is actually highlighting the general mandate of the department as is expected of them. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm not satisfied with this response, and I will request, if you are guiding the committee, that what we need for the county assembly to be able to oversight the role of the Department of Gender Issues, gender mainstreaming, is the policy that will create a framework for our role as oversight. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Chair and Honorable Judge Bayer, I think what you need to state in the next session is how far the policy has gone in terms of domestication. I think that is what Honorable Member was looking for. Next.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to assist my able chair to respond on this statement. Response for County Assembly statement. Response for County Assembly statement on youth radicalization. The department is well aware of the occurrence and all observations tabled. The county has the witnessed presence of militia groups and notable hotspots for recruitment of candidates into these groups. Notable of these groups are Mombasa Republican Council, also known as MRC, and Al-Shabaab outfits of terror gangs. The operation of these gangs are a serious risk to the peace, security and stability of not only our Kilifi County but the nation as a whole. Hence, a top sensitive security issue that is being handled at hand by the County Security Committee, which the department is not represented. However, the department being aware and mandated to protect and empower young people against such and other retrogressive cultures, traditions and practices such as alcoholism and drug abuse. In light of the above, the department has over the years in its work plan been undertaking diverse programs and activities to address the same. These include the following. 1. The Directorate of Youth has been collaborating particularly with international organizations for migration to address radicalization through a program for human security and stability, to brackets PHSS. Two-pronged program approach towards individual livelihood support on one hand, and the other being community revitalizing projects dubbed as community assisted projects. The beneficiaries of these projects or stock program were identified from all over the county, but specifically in identified hotspot areas for militia and fertile grounds of violent and extremism groups. 2. A total of 5 community-assisted projects, which included renovation and equipping of vocational training centers, VTS, Marakaya Ward, Hademu, Mwanamwinga Ward, Mwamtsunga, Rabai Kisurutini Ward, Roka, Mazangoni Ward, Msumarini, Magarini Ward, and the equipping of one youth empowerment center, Magarini Youth Empowerment Center in Magarini sub-county. IOM beneficiaries since inception of the program in 2016. Number 1, in year 2016, total beneficiaries 102, male 72 and female 29. Number 2, year 2017, total beneficiaries is 20, 12 male and 8 female. Number 3, in 2018, number of beneficiaries 33, 16 male and 17 female. Number 4, 2019, number of beneficiaries 24, 15 male and 9 female. Number 5, 2020, number of beneficiaries is 41, 27 male and 14 female. Total number of beneficiaries 220, male 143 and 77 female. Number 3, budget allocations for individual beneficiaries. First group of 179 beneficiaries received an allocation of 180,000 each. 32,220,000. Second group of 41 beneficiaries received an allocation of 150,000 each. Total 6,150,000. This project came to an end this April 2020. Number 4, the department has, in partnership with that of agriculture, livestock and fisheries, been giving groups start-up kits to groups of youth and women in various value chains to undertake income-generating activities, IGS, in order to address vulnerability against being recruited into these militia groups. Number 5, establishing renovation and equipping of various vocational training centers by the Department of Education and ICT in partnership with youth agencies are some of the efforts to curb and address vulnerability of communities against the influence of the militia terrorist groups. Way forward, there is need, however, to carry out mass campaigns and sensitization on career and alternative livelihood pathways, as some are lured into joining the terrorist groups unknowingly in their search for jobs outside the county. Kindly note that the government has always proposed to undertake programs aimed at addressing these vulnerabilities in diverse ways, but unfortunately have not been allocated any budget for the same. Given the observation by the County Assembly of Kilifi, we sincerely do hope that we will earn your support in trying to attain appropriation on the same in future financial year budget. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, before I agree or disagree on this statement, Mr. Speaker, I would like to highlight something first. Mr. Speaker, in my prayer, there were 2 issues that had been highlighted. First was what actions was the department taking to make sure that youths in Kilifi County are being protected towards youth radicalization and violent extremism. And then the next was how it's going to cease them from becoming vulnerable to such groups. But Mr. Speaker, from the response, you will see that all this response, all the items that have been highlighted in this response, they've been geared towards question 2 of the statement. But Mr. Speaker, question 1 was the most important question. How are we going to protect our people? Mr. Speaker, economic empowerment is not bad, but if you recall from the census that was done last year, out of 1.4 million people in Kilifi County, more than 700 people are youth, Mr. Speaker. And when we say youth, these are ages between 18 to 35, Mr. Speaker. So out of the more 700 people, Mr. Speaker, even from the economic empowerment programs, we are only seeing beneficiaries of a number of 220 from the financial year of 2016 all the way to 2020, Mr. Speaker. From a sum of 770,000, a team of only 220 people have been able to benefit from all these programs, Mr. Speaker. What happens to the remaining number, Mr. Speaker? How, if we cannot economically empower them, how then do we protect them, Mr. Speaker? That has not been answered. And in fact, I was looking forward maybe to see if the department has even tried to come up with a policy that will, a policy that is going to go into countering youth radicalization and violent extremism, which is very, very important. That's a way of how we are going to protect our youth, Mr. Speaker. That has not been highlighted. What has been highlighted, it's just on issues of economic empowerment, Mr. Speaker. And another issue on way forward, she's also highlighting on the issue of budget estimate, Mr. Speaker, that when some monies are being put to solve these issues, then that money does not see its way into the estimate, Mr. Speaker. But then, how will you be able to convince members that I want this money to use it for a certain program on countering radicalization if we don't even have a policy on the same, Mr. Speaker? So the most important thing here is we are looking forward to a policy on countering youth radicalization and violent extremism, Mr. Speaker. So number 1 of the question has not been properly answered. Thank you.
Honorable George, do you have any response to that, or you want to seek further clarification?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I will agree with the honorable member that I will seek more clarification from the CC member on this matter.
Thank you so much. Ruben Katana, is he in the... Honorable Ruben, I presume he's not in the house. Let's move to the next order of business.